今天要分享的改编故事是三顾茅庐，希望能在学习英语的路上给你带来收获。你的每个点赞和订阅都是对我莫大的鼓励。那么，咱们开始吧。
The snow fell heavy that day in central China, burying the path to a simple thatched hut. A man in his 40s, his cloak soaked through, stood silent in the freezing cold. He wasn't a young soldier. He was Liu Bei, a warlord and a direct descendant of kings. Behind him, his two sworn brothers, the mountain of muscle known as Zhang Fei and the god of war, Guan Yu, were losing their patience. They had been standing there for hours, watching this unknown scholar sleep. You have to picture the scene. Zhang Fei, his face red with cold and rage, wanted to burn the hut down. He couldn't believe it. They had already made this trip twice before. The first time, the man was gone. The second time, they traveled through a blizzard, only to find he had left on a boat trip that very morning. And now, for the third time, they had trekked through this wasteland, only to find the man, this so-called hidden dragon, napping on a couch inside his drafty little home. This wasn't how things were done. Liu Bei was royalty. He commanded armies. He could have sent a soldier to drag this farmer out by his hair. But Liu Bei knew something that his brothers didn't. He knew that the truly great cannot be summoned. They must be sought. Rewind just a few years. Liu Bei was nothing. A nobody. He was a sandal weaver trying to put a broken empire back together. He had the heart of a king but no kingdom. He had brave generals like his brothers, but he lacked one crucial thing, a mind. A grand strategy. He was stumbling through the dark, losing every battle, while his rivals, the powerful Cao Cao in the north and Sun Quan in the east, grew stronger by the day. Then, a whisper reached his ears. Two different sages, men who knew the world, told him the same thing. In this land, there is a dragon sleeping. His name is Zhuge Liang. If you can get him, you can get the empire. So, Liu Bei went. The first journey was long, dusty, and pointless. The guardian of the hut, a young boy, simply said, "Master is not home." Liu Bei left his name and went back, disappointed but not defeated. The second journey was brutal. Winter had set in. As they walked, the wind howled, and snow piled up on their shoulders. Zhang Fei complained the whole way. "This is a waste of time," he roared. "Let's just go back." But Liu Bei pushed on. When they arrived, shivering and half frozen, they found not Zhuge Liang, but his younger brother. The scholar was gone again, this time exploring the snowy mountains. Liu Bei asked for paper and brush. He wrote a letter, pouring his heart out, explaining his dream, his desperation, his offer. He left it there, hoping. Months passed. Spring was coming. Liu Bei announced he was going again. This time, Guan Yu spoke up. "Brother," he said carefully, "we have tried twice. Perhaps this man has a reputation but no real skill. Maybe he is hiding because he has nothing to offer." Zhang Fei was more direct. "Let me go alone. If he refuses to come, I'll tie him up and drag him back." Liu Bei looked at his brothers, these warriors who would die for him, and he felt a pang of sadness. They didn't understand. You cannot tie up a man's mind. You cannot force genius. If he sent Zhang Fei, Zhuge Liang would see them as barbarians. And he would be right. "No," Liu Bei said. "You will stay here. I will go alone." Of course, they didn't let him go alone. They went with him, grumbling. That is how they ended up standing in the snow, outside that lonely hut, watching a man sleep. The boy at the door told them the master was tired and not to be disturbed. Zhang Fei's hand went to his sword. Liu Bei grabbed his arm and held it tight. They waited. 1 hour. 2 hours. The snow melted on Liu Bei's head and dripped down his face. He did not move. He did not call out. He simply stood there, in the cold, waiting for a man he had never met. Inside, Zhuge Liang was not really asleep. This was a test. A cruel, final test. He had read the letter. He knew who Liu Bei was. He knew about his rivals, Cao Cao and Sun Quan. They were powerful. They were winning. Liu Bei was a man with nothing but a dream. Why should he, Zhuge Liang, a man who loved his simple life of farming and reading, give that up to chase a hopeless cause? He had to know if this man was serious. Was he just another warlord looking for a tool? Or was he something different? He opened his eyes. Stretching, he turned to his boy. "Is there a guest?" he asked, as if he didn't know. The boy whispered, "The one called Liu Bei is here. He has been standing in the snow for a long time." Zhuge Liang got up, straightened his robes, and walked to the door. When he opened it, he saw a man with a tired face and eyes that burned with hope. A man from a royal line, covered in melting snow, waiting like a servant. He saw Guan Yu, the god of war, standing with respect. And he saw Zhang Fei, the fiery giant, whose rage had melted into a grudging awe. He saw 3 men who had crossed mountains and snow, not once, not twice, but 3 times, just to see his face. And in that moment, Zhuge Liang knew. This was the man. He invited them in. They talked. They talked about the state of the empire, about the art of war, about the hearts of men. Zhuge Liang laid out a plan, a grand strategy that would split the world into 3 kingdoms, with Liu Bei as one of the lords. It was a brilliant, impossible dream. And Liu Bei, this wandering sandal maker, listened and believed. When the conversation ended, Liu Bei begged him, "Please, master, come with me. Help me save the world." Zhuge Liang looked at him. "For you," he said, "I will leave my farm. I will give everything I have." Why do we still tell this story, almost 2,000 years later? It's not because of the battles that followed. It's because of the waiting. It's because of the snow. We tell it because we all know, deep down, that the things worth having are never easy to get. Think about your own life. Is there someone you need to reach? A mentor, a partner, a friend whose wisdom you desperately need? Have you asked them once and given up when the door seemed closed? Liu Bei didn't know if the third time would work. He had no guarantee. He just knew that if he stopped trying, the answer was definitely no. He risked his pride, his comfort, and his time for a chance. The lesson of the thatched hut is simple: respect is the price of admission. If you want a dragon, you have to be willing to stand in the snow.
下集请移步主页观看。